everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be my January wrap-up, basically reviewing all of the books that I read in January. It's a long one. I feel like January is usually a pretty long one. This month I finished 8 books. 2 I have DNF that I still will mention, and then 2 I am currently in the middle of. So quite a few books. I'm very happy with my results so far. February is going to be even more hectic because of my 1 week, 1 shelf challenge. So I am going to attempt to finish the 2 I'm in the middle of tonight, tomorrow, because Sunday I have to start filming because I want to be able to post every Sunday for the challenge. So yeah, I might have time to finish 2 more, but probably not though. But worst case, I'll finish them when I finish them. The first book I finished was an arc, and it is A History of What Comes Next by Sylvain Neuvel. It is the first book in a new series by him. And as I was reading it, I think the concept is great, but because it was the first book that I finished this month, I feel like I've had time to think more about it. And unfortunately for me, it's kind of a miss. It's kind of hard to talk about it because it's kind of historical fiction, kind of sci-fi, but I'm not really sure. It's very confusing. It's super short too. It's like 200 something pages. You're following a specific woman, but she is the daughter of like a long line of women, like almost 100 women who have been trying to influence the future of technology, kind of to get us to go to the stars as fast as possible. It starts happening, her story around World War II, and then not quite to nowadays, but it's going in that direction. And there are obviously people against them, and it's very mysterious. I did enjoy actually the flashback of the past women, which that was, in my opinion, the best part. The writing I feel like isn't great. I think it's the main weakness for the author. If you think back at his past work, it's either short stories, which were good, or like the Temis File series, which were kind of still short and very focused on dialogues, and it was like interview styles. It kind of hid that weakness for me with those styles, but it's just super obvious in my opinion with this book. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to continue the series. I'm probably going to give it like 2.5 stars, which I didn't hate the book. It just feel like the concept is great, but the execution was kind of meh and confusing, and I don't think I'm going to continue unless like there are rave reviews about book 2. So yeah, unfortunately for me, not the best way to start the year, but I mean, it was a quick read, so it is what it is. However, things did pick up afterwards because I finished a couple short stories from the Forward collection, which most of them were actually definitely worth the read. The first one I finished was Summer Frost by Blake Crouch. I've had hit and misses with this author, but this one is actually pretty good. I gave it 4 stars. I tend to be kind of harsh on short stories because I find that often they just feel incomplete, but it wasn't the case with that one. I'm trying to like tell you what it is about without ruining it because it is under 100 pages. It's essentially, it starts in a video game and they're like trying to create that video game, but then the computer kind of becomes sentient. Is that the way you would explain it? Probably not, but we're gonna keep it very vague. That's how it starts, and I think this is one of the most popular ones, short stories in that collection, so I do definitely recommend that one. I enjoyed it. My personal favorite is the next one, which was written by N.K. Jemisin. This is Emergency Skin, which, fantastic, 5 stars. First 5-star review of the year. Loved it. It is, I think, the shortest one. It's like 32 pages. Awesome. It's just very relevant right now with, I'm gonna keep this vague, kind of climate change. Maybe you're following some of the remnant of humanity that escaped the planet, and then they're sending one person back to Earth to get something. You don't know what, and again, keeping it vague, but I really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of you would also. Definitely recommend that one for sure. The next short story was The Last Conversation by Paul Tremblay, which that one is almost impossible to tell you the genre, so I'm going to keep it to the summary only. You're following this man who wakes up, he's in the dark, he can't see anything, hear anything, but then there's a voice that starts talking to him, kind of trying to help him remember. The ending was disappointing for me. There was a lot of potential, but ended up being kind of because of that. It's not my least favorite of the collection, but it's probably in 4th place out of 5. I mean, something has to be last, right? Then we have Arc by Veronica Roth, which that one took me by surprise. It's completely different from the other short stories of this collection. It's just softer, not in a bad way. And yeah, I'm gonna say that. In this one, you're following a group of people as there's an asteroid coming. It's gonna just hit the planet. There's nothing we can do about it, and people are escaping. But you're following some of the people that are currently staying, trying to catalog some plants and flowers, and I liked it a lot, actually. So this will be third place for me. And then last but not least, the biggest disappointment in that collection was Randomized by Andy Weir, which it started fine. You're following this IT guy that goes up to his big boss at the casino and tells him that, oh, there's just going to be issues because blah, blah, blah. And after that, it's just a huge disappointment to me. So I wasn't a fan of that one. I don't think it's anyone's favorite, to be honest. Yeah, wasn't the best. There's only one more short story that I haven't read, but I don't have it, so I will have to see if my library has it, or I'll just have to buy it eventually to have read the whole collection. But I do think overall the ones that I've read were worth the read. I finally got around to reading a few like modern classics, like We Have Always Lived in a Castle by Shirley Jackson, which I've been meaning to read books by her. In this one, I'm still very, very much confused. I did listen to it as an audiobook. You're following this family, and I don't know what would be considered a spoiler with this one. I'm just not going to say anything. They're just very strange. Very, very strange. And I'm not sure if I like missed something with it, but I don't really get the hype of that one. But I guess madness is a recurring theme with the author. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, overall, I tend to rate my books based on enjoyment, not like, you know, if I got some great life lesson. So for me, it was kind of a meh situation with that one. So next was the Patreon book club pick of the month, which was The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. We've had our ups and downs with this one. It's an adult fantasy, but it's very much character driven, especially the first half. I feel like it's almost two different books. The first half was very slow paced. The descriptions are so long that I found myself, like, my eyes were just wandering, which doesn't really happen often to me. Definitely had an issue with that one. With that said, you're following him and a group of thieves as there are adult and kids. In the first half, I much preferred the story of them as kids, like by a lot. But it eventually does pick up towards the middle, and things got so much better. The second half was just much, much more entertaining. I'm trying to like not spoil it, but I feel like some characters are very, very lucky. I'm just gonna say that. So the ending was kind of just not perfect for me because of that. But overall, definitely took me by surprise. Did not go in any direction that I expected. And I went into it blind, so it's kind of a weird way of explaining it, but I still feel like it works. And yeah, I feel like some of us really loved it. Some of us were I'm kind of in between. Again, the first half, meh, the second half, much better. So I would read more from this author. But if you just read that one and you're done with it, you're still fine. I feel like it stands on its own pretty well. So yes, overall, I think this one I'm going to give it a 3.5, 3.75. Not a bad book. Just kind of wanted a bit more for the first half. Also, what is the obsession from authors from the year 2000 something to always have a bunch of prostitutes? I don't understand it, but yeah. Let's talk quickly about the two books that I DNF'd. The first one is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. I've read 50% of it, well, listened to it as an audiobook. That's over 400 pages. Like, that book is 800 and something pages. So I really, really tried. Unfortunately, it's not even character driven at this point. This is my fourth book by the author. I think I'm going to give up on her, to be honest, because the majority of the books that I read are action driven. But if you look at my favorites, at my best at the end of every year, it's about 50-50 action and character driven. But in this case, it's not even action driven. It's not even character driven. I can't even like focus on the writing because it's fine. There's not anything crazy with the setting, the world building. Like, there's nothing I can focus on and be like, oh, it's worth it because of. So I just ended up DNFing it at 50% exactly because I told myself, like, give it at least that. No, it's not working for me. And I understand that she's very popular, but I think after 4 books, it's fine. I can just admit that not for me, not a problem, and just move on with my life. The other book that I DNF was actually from N.K. Jemisin. So my first 5-star and my first DNF of the year, same author. It just happens. The City We Became, which I was so not far into it, so I'm definitely not counting that one towards my reading goal of the year. I just didn't vibe with it. That's the best way I can explain it. I think I was like 2 hours into the audiobook. They started like doing music and I just couldn't do it. No explanation really. It's just, but like I told myself that this year I was DNFing books left and right if I'm not feeling it. So 2 is pretty good for me in a month. I know it doesn't sound good, but for me it's good. Let's talk about the 2 books that I'm currently reading. Both of them, I'm over 50% into them. That's why I'm like hoping I can finish them in the next, 48 hours. The first one is Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews, which, is it considered classic, modern classic? Is it horror? I don't know how to describe that one. I'm about 60% into that one. I have like a puzzle I'm currently doing, so I can listen to that as I'm doing the puzzle because it is messed up. You warned me. You did. And I'm very much afraid that it's going in the direction that I'm thinking it's going. And I thought the warning was the part in the beginning, but looks like no. And not really okay with it, but I will read it because I've heard so many things about it. That's my opinion so far. As far as the last book, I have to thank Anne, which I will link her bookstagram and her blog down below because of her, I'm able to actually read this arc that I've been dying to read. This is the 4th book in the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers. It is The Galaxy and the Ground Within, which, you know how I said that I usually really prefer action-packed books? This one is the complete opposite. It's barely character-driven. It's more of like an exploration of characters that are actually aliens. That's the best way to describe it. They've had discussion about cheese, and frankly, I didn't know I needed that discussion in my life, but like, when you think about it from an alien point of view, eating cheese is weird. And I don't know why that conversation in the book made me laugh so hard. But yes, it's not going to be for everyone. I feel like the first book in that series is definitely more accessible, and after that it kind of becomes more companion novels which are loosely related. But yes, I definitely don't recommend this for everyone, but for me her writing just works. It just does. I keep saying that it makes me feel like home. That's the best way I can describe it. They're very just comforting and great representation as always, and I can't explain it, but like I said, I'm about 60% into it, so I don't know how it's going to end, but frankly, I don't think it will really matter. My rating's about going to be the same for every book in this series, I feel like. But yes, very happy to be reading this and hoping that I can finish it before I start my next challenges. That's it for January. Pretty good month, I would say overall. I did get a little bit in a slump because of this one. The first half took me like way over a week, like almost 2 weeks, and then the second half took me like a couple days. But I'm still very happy with my results so far and the fact that I have DNF'd books, but now we are about to start February, which again, I will be announcing every time I finish a vlog the next genre I'm reading for the next week, so you can participate if you want. And then for anyone that wants to participate for the Patreon book of the month, it's going to be this one, which is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, which is also an adult fantasy and also more character driven, but hopefully we all enjoy that one. Thumbs up, subscribe. I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in my next one very soon. Bye.